It started quietly, so quietly that almost no one noticed at first. In a world where rising stars are usually announced with noise, hype, and instant headlines, Chloe Kitts seemed to arrive in the background, like a name you hear once and forget. There were no dramatic introductions, no viral moments, no immediate spotlight. Just a young athlete stepping into a system that had already built its reputation on dominance, discipline, and an unshakable expectation of greatness. That system was the powerhouse known as the South Carolina Gamecocks women's basketball, a program where talent is everywhere, competition is constant, and nothing is handed to you without proof. For many players, entering that environment can feel like stepping into a storm. You're surrounded by elite athletes, each one fighting for minutes, recognition, and a chance to prove they belong. And in that storm, it's easy to disappear before you're ever truly seen. And for a while, that's exactly what seemed to be happening. Chloe Kitts was there, working, learning, adjusting, but not yet shining in a way that captured the full attention of fans. To outsiders, she was just another piece in a loaded roster. Another name in a program already filled with stars. Another player waiting in line. But what no one could see, what no stat sheet could show, was the quiet transformation happening beneath the surface. Every practice became a test of patience. Every drill became a chance to grow. Every moment on the bench wasn't a setback, it was preparation. While others were chasing the spotlight, she was building something deeper. Something stronger. Something that wouldn't fade when the pressure came. And that's where her story begins to shift, from what people saw, to what they completely missed. Because beyond the court, life was also shaping her in ways that fans weren't fully paying attention to yet. There was another layer to her journey, one that added emotion, relatability, and a sense of humanity that made her story feel more real than most. It wasn't just about basketball anymore, it was about balance, identity, and connection. Somewhere within that demanding environment, she found herself building a relationship that would later capture the curiosity of fans. Not because it was loud or controversial, but because it felt genuine in a world where authenticity is rare. Two athletes, both navigating the same pressures, the same expectations, the same grind, finding understanding in each other when few others truly could. Their bond wasn't built in highlight moments or public displays, it was built in the unseen parts of the journey. Early mornings when motivation had to come from within. Late nights after tough losses. The quiet conversations that happen when the cameras are off and the pressure feels heaviest. It was a connection rooted in shared experience, and that made it powerful. As their relationship slowly became public, fans began to take notice, not in a dramatic way, but in a curious one. People weren't just seeing a couple, they were seeing a story unfold. A story of support. A story of growth. A story of two individuals chasing greatness while refusing to lose themselves in the process. But what made it even more compelling was what didn't happen. There was no distraction. No drop in focus. No shift away from the game. In fact, it seemed to have the opposite effect. Chloe Kitts looked more composed, more driven, more locked in than before. As if her off-court stability was fueling her on-court evolution. And that's when the questions started to grow louder. Who is she really becoming? Because now, people weren't just watching her play, they were watching her develop. Watching her respond to pressure. Watching her find her place in a system that demands excellence at every level. And slowly, almost quietly again, something began to change. Her presence started to feel different. Not louder, but stronger. Not flashy, but impactful. Moments began to appear. Small at first, but impossible to ignore. A key rebound. A defensive stop. A burst of energy that shifted the rhythm of a game. She wasn't always the headline, but she was becoming something just as important, the player you notice when it matters most. And while that was happening, another transformation was unfolding off the court. Because Chloe Kitts wasn't just growing as a player, she was stepping into the modern world of college athletics, where influence extends far beyond the game. The era of nil had changed everything, and she was part of a generation learning how to navigate both performance and personal brand at the same time. Her presence online began to grow. Her visibility began to rise. And with that came opportunities, partnerships, collaborations, and the early signs of a financial future that was still being built in real time. It wasn't about sudden wealth or flashy numbers. It was about potential. About laying the foundation for something bigger than the present moment. And yet, despite all of this, her journey never felt rushed. There was no sense of forcing the spotlight. No attempt to skip steps. Just steady, intentional growth. And in a world obsessed with instant success, that made her story stand out even more. Because while others chased attention, she was earning it. While others rushed the process, she was trusting it. And slowly, the narrative began to shift. She wasn't just a role player anymore. She wasn't just part of the system. She was becoming a piece of it. A reliable presence. A trusted contributor. Someone whose impact couldn't be measured by numbers alone. At the same time, her personal life continued to draw quiet admiration. Fans appreciated the balance she maintained, the ability to stay grounded while everything around her was evolving. There was a maturity in the way she carried herself, a sense that she understood something many others didn't, that growth takes time, and real success isn't built overnight. Then came the conversations about money, inevitable in today's sports world. How much is she making? What is her net worth? The answers weren't clear-cut, and that was the truth. She's still in the early stages, still building, still growing into what could eventually become a significant financial presence. But that uncertainty didn't weaken her story, it strengthened it. Because it meant one thing. This isn't the peak. This is the beginning. And that's what makes her journey so compelling. You're not watching a finished product. You're watching a process unfold. You're watching the kind of story that only reveals its full meaning over time, the kind that feels small at first but grows into something unforgettable. And maybe that's why more fans are starting to pay attention now. Not because she's the loudest. Not because she's the most talked about. But because there's something real there. Something steady. Something building. Something that feels like it's leading somewhere bigger. From quiet beginnings. To growing recognition. To a future filled with unanswered questions and endless possibility. Chloe Kitts is no longer just a name in the background. She's becoming a story people want to follow. A journey people want to understand. A rise people want to witness before the rest of the world fully catches on. And when that moment finally comes, when everything clicks, when the spotlight fully arrives, when her name is everywhere, those who have been watching closely will realize something powerful. It was never sudden. It was never random. It was always happening. Step by step. Moment by moment. Silently, until it couldn't be ignored anymore. And if you've made it this far into the story, then you already understand what makes journeys like this special. So don't just watch from the sidelines, be part of it. Like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to SealScore TV for more deep, powerful stories like this, because the next big rise is already happening, and trust me, you'll want to say you saw it first.